I'm giving you 35 financial money tips specifically for those of you on a variable income. So, those of you that rely on overtimes, tips, bonus, commission, extra hours, and your pay can change from one week to the next depending on the business, then this is for you. And all these tips are things that I have adapted in my life, coming from a hospitality background and someone that was living with a variable income. I had to change some habits and beliefs that I had in order to get to the place of stability that I am currently in today. And I'm here to help you get there without going through all the trial and error and the years of trying to figure it out by yourself. And these tips are specifically for you because traditional budgeting doesn't always take in consideration that your pay changes month to month. So it can be difficult to stick to a spreadsheet when your pay doesn't even match what you budgeted. And I'm here to let you know it's not necessarily that you're bad with money. It's just that you've been using a system that was never made for your paycheck. Before I go into the tips, this is going to take time. This is not a quick fix, get rich scheme. This takes time to enable it to stick and become a natural part of day-to-day life. So grab a pen and grab a notebook so you can walk away with some tips that you can start actioning today. To make this more easy to digest, I split this out into 3 parts. So all the tips in part 1 will be about your mindset and your foundation. Part 2 is where we start building stability, and part 3 will be all about protecting what you have built. Tip number 1 is your belief, the identity problem. And this is where most of us believe our financial situation can't get any better than it is because of who we are, because of how we've grown up, because of the job that we have, because of our earnings, because of what school we went to. All these external factors gives us a subconscious belief that our financial situation can only reach a certain level of stability. And why this holds us back is because when we hear any tips or any advice that will actually help us improve our finances, we don't even hear it because our core belief doesn't even register that the person that's giving us the advice is talking to us. So I'm here to let you know that that belief that you have, that you'll never be financially stable, that you will always struggle, that you will always face financial stress and anxiety is not true. You can make it out and you can make a change, and it will take time. But first, you need to believe that this is a possibility. On the top of your notebook, I want you to write, I deserve financial stability. I am capable of becoming financially stable. I am on my way to financial stability. Tip number 2, find your survival number. Your survival number is pretty much what it costs you to survive in 1 month. So this is adding up all your essential costs. Knowing this number is so important because not only does it give you that peace of mind of knowing whether each month you will be able to cover this and be okay, it also gives you a starting point and knowing where you need to move things around and how much you actually have to spend on yourself once all the essential things are covered. So your action on this tip is to list out the following with what it costs you and total it up. So that's your rent, your bills, your utilities, your travel, food, and any minimum debt payments you're making. Total this together and this will give you your survival number. And if you want to go in more detail on what you can do with this, I do have specific videos that does break this down, linked in the description below. Tip number 3 is your lowest monthly income. Now, knowing this gives you the lowest amount you could possibly get on your payday. So you're not surprised when you open your bank account or look at your payslip, you're seeing a number that you are roughly expecting. Knowing this number is very important because it is the number that I would always suggest someone on a variable income should budget from. It is your only kind of guaranteed number that you can work with, when week on week your hours can fluctuate quite a lot depending on how the business is doing. This is the figure that you will budget from. This is the figure that should cover your survival number. And a lot of the things that I will talk about, this number is your starting point. So one action here is to look at your past 6 to 12 months pay and literally pick out the lowest one. Tip number 4 is your fluctuation range. This is basically the difference between your highest month and your lowest month, giving you a value on the volatility of your pay. Knowing this amount kind of gives you your primary target for any savings you want to start building. So to work out your fluctuation range, looking at the past 6 to 12 months of your paydays, taking out the highest amount and then taking out the lowest amount and working out the difference. And hopefully in doing this, it gives you a little bit of visual on how big the leap is from a good month to a bad month, and kind of make you start thinking about how you are actually living your life from month to month and what you're doing to protect your lower months. Tip number 5 is track your hours. This means that when you clock in and clock out, that you have your own record of when you've worked, whether it be on an app that's connected to the system at work, which is really good, but not everywhere has that luxury. So if it's a case where you are manually signing in, signing out, make sure that you have this written down somewhere and you have the total amount of actual hours that you have worked recorded. Because what you don't want to do is have months and months and months of getting paid incorrectly because there's an error either in the system, or you haven't signed in and signed out properly, or you've forgotten, and then you've realized that your pay doesn't seem to be adding up to the amount of hours that you've worked, because then getting your money can be a little bit more difficult, or it might take a bit more time. And we want to ensure that there's accuracy when you get paid every step of the way. So please track your hours. So an action here is to get either a little diary or have a spreadsheet, or if you have an app, ensure that you are checking it after every shift that you signed out, and that when it's been approved by a manager, that the hours do correlate to what you've actually worked. We need to ensure that the money you're actually getting is correct. Tip number 6 is check your payslip. Now, there are several things on your payslip that you do need to check to ensure that you are getting paid correctly and the deductions that are coming out are also correct. I'm not going to go through them all today, but I will be making a video on payslips and what things to check to ensure your payslip is accurate, and if it's not, what you can do to improve it. So subscribe if you want to ensure that you don't miss out on that. Now we're going on to part 2, so building stability. Tip number 7, build a buffer. Now this is so important when your income is variable, because this buffer will protect you from borrowing when you hit your low months. Now, building a buffer doesn't happen overnight, and it is a slow process, and it all depends on how much you earn. And again, like I said before, using your lowest month to figure out what you can consistently put into your buffer each month is really important. And then if you do get more, like an average or a high month, that's when you would put a little bit more. This buffer essentially is your protection against any essential costs, and this will give you your peace of mind. And when you have this peace of mind, I am telling you from my own experience, it's a whole different world. That forever feeling of financial stress or not feeling like it's possible starts slipping away. And even if it's as small as £5 a month, it does not matter. It's not a race. It's something that you want to build that can withhold the elements of life, because your life is going to continue to happen. I'd rather you put in £5 a month consistently for years rather than put £100 now and then nothing again. Tip number 8, build an emergency fund. So your buffer is something you can dip into regularly to balance out the volatility of your pay. Your emergency fund, however, is something that you shouldn't be touching. Your emergency is last resort. And that doesn't mean borrowing before, but it means last resort. These go on important, unavoidable, unexpected bills. So you want to save up to 3 months of your survival number. So the minimum it costs you to survive in 1 month. Again, like the buffer, this gets built up over time. So we're not expecting you to have that fund saved tomorrow. It is a slow process. But again, just like the buffer, once you have this, your peace of mind, your thought process when it comes to your finances, I promise you, it will change. It will completely change. And again, I'm speaking from experience as someone that was really bad with my money, living paycheck to paycheck. Having an emergency fund has changed my whole concept on where I am, what I can achieve when it comes to my financial situation, when I stick to it, and when I'm actually transparent with myself and real about what my circumstances are. We don't want to be making plans about our finances with a delusion that we are getting more than we are. This is why I always say start with the lowest. We want full transparency. We want to be real. We want the ugly truth. We are imperfect humans, but there is a way out. And I am a standing testimony of that. And I want to help you get there. So, your emergency fund, you need a target. You need to figure out from your survival number what is 3 months worth, what's your 6 months worth, and what's your 12 months worth. And again, you might never reach the 12 months worth of survival number, but having these milestones just gives you an end goal, gives you a direction in where you're going, what you're saving for. We don't want to be blindly saving. We need to understand the amounts that are going into accounts. So figure out what your emergency number and have it written down. Tip number 9, separate your money. Don't have all your money go in one account and stay there for the entire month. Because what's going to happen is you are going to slowly bleed away at it, especially now where we can just tap our card, tap our phone, swipe and pay on Amazon. We can pay for things in a blink of an eye. And it's so important that we protect the money that we need to use to pay for our important bills, to ensure we have roof over our head, food in our belly, we can get to and from work. And if we have had any debt, then we are being responsible and paying them off first before paying for our lifestyle. So what I want you to do is, if you do have a banking app, most of them do have this feature, is create separate pots or open up an additional bank account. And what you want to do is have either name the pot or dedicate each account for bills, lifestyle, or savings. So what I want you to do, an action, is I want you to create the pots. Just create the pots. Take that first step. Pot number 1 will be your survival number. Your second pot is your buffer, as well as your emergency fund. Then in your main account, whatever's left in there is the money you have to freely spend on whatever it is you want. Guilt-free savings. But at least you have an understanding what amount you do have to actually spend, rather than spending too much and thinking, oh God, it's 2 weeks into the month and I have no money. Action takeaway is create the pots. Survival, buffer, emergency fund. Your main account is your free spending. Simple. Tip number 10, automate your money. So standing orders is when you set a specific amount to come out your account on a specific date to go to another location. Setting this up is taking out the manual labor of paying money into different pots or paying out money to your landlords or to council taxes or any other important bills, because we all live a life. We all have good, we all have bad days. And on a bad day, if you get paid, that money is probably not going to go towards the important bill. It's probably going to go on something that will make you feel better. And yes, it will make you feel better now, but in 2 weeks' time, it's going to be the reason why you don't feel good again. So set up standing orders for your money to be moved 24 to 48 hours after you get paid. Set up all your direct debits for your rent, your council tax, your water, gas and electric to come out 24 to 48 hours after you get paid as well. The sooner the money comes out of your account against payday, the less likely you have that temptation to spend it on things that you shouldn't be spending it on. So automate as much as you can. The less you physically have to do, the more likely it's going to stick. So unfortunately, where we're not just robots, we do have emotions. Sometimes that can stop us from taking the actions that we need to take to protect our future self. And again, I am saying this from experience because when I was relying on myself to send money here, there, and everywhere, it wasn't happening the way it should do. But as soon as I started doing the standing orders and the direct debits as close to my payday, it was a whole different world. It was so much easier to resist any temptation because I didn't even have the money to pay for the temptation. So please, please, please take the action, set up any standing order. Even if you set up one today, that's one more than you had yesterday. Tip number 11, debt clarity. Debt is when you owe money to companies or people. And usually what happens is either you agree to pay off a certain amount every month. This is probably the hardest point, and I went through this. I got myself into debt, and for a long time I ignored it and thought I'm just going to keep living my life, it's going to go away. But it was always in the back of my mind, that anxiety, that stress that was always there. And no matter how good I felt in the moment, at some point of the day the thoughts would creep in my head about my debt. And it didn't stop until I had a full clarity of my situation. One thing about debts is you do need clarity on it. You will not be able to fix your debt situation if you do not know how much you owe and to who. I know no matter how down, how impossible you think it is, you can do it. You really can. And I only wish I had someone or a video like this at the time to give me that nudge, because maybe I would have done it a little bit quicker. So I'm telling you, you can do it. So an action takeaway is open up every letter that you have, every letter that you've ignored, no matter how far back it is, open up every single letter and write out the name of the company, the contact number or email address, and if you do have that detail, the amount you owe and the minimum monthly payment that needs to be made, the interest attached to that debt. This is a starting point. It can be daunting seeing the total of debt that you're in. And again, this is why I say if you do have the support, get the support. If you have someone, do not do this alone. Get help. It does play on your mental health. I'm not a financial advisor. I am literally someone talking from experience. I've done it myself and I understand the emotions that I went through at the time and the emotions that you could possibly go through, and even probably worse or maybe not as bad. But again, the shame and the guilt is what keeps us quiet, is that isolates us, that makes us look around and feel that nobody else is going through this, when you would be surprised the amount of people that are going through the same thing as you. And this is one of the reasons why I want to do this, is build a community of people that we can speak in the comments and understand that we aren't alone in this, and that there are other people that are going through exactly the same thing. And I really want you to not be afraid to look at your circumstances as it is. Because again, the first point, if you need to read those notes, if you need to put them on the mirror, on the post-it note, is know you deserve financial stability. Know that you can achieve financial stability. And it's not a race. It's not a quick fix. It's not a hack. It's not get rich quick. It's literally a slow journey. And I'm being completely honest, because for me it was a slow journey. I'm not here giving you any magic tricks. I'm just giving you the honest truth, what I did to get where I am today. and knowing that you guys can do exactly the same. So write down, open all the letters, open on all the emails. If you have the transactions in your bank, open up your bank and then just list out the company, the contact details, the total amount you owe, the minimum payment that you need to pay, and as well as the interest. And just stop there. We don't want to overload, but that step in itself, that's clarity. If you want to then take that and ring one of the charities, it's a good starting point. You have it all there. You then go to the step change or citizen advice, and you have the fundamental information that they need, as well as your income and your outgoings, and then they can start that journey with you. Tip number 12, your waste number. Now, your waste number is everything that's coming out your account that you're either not using, but you've forgotten about, that doesn't give any value to you. So these are mainly your subscriptions or services that you are paying for. And these leaks can add up to quite a bit, because in this day and age, we can sign up to free trials and usually we forget, and then they convert and we don't stop them. We can get a deal where we're signing on this month for half price, then it goes to full price, and then we're paying again for something that we probably stopped using because the trend has faded, or we only signed up to it because it was on offer. These leaks can easily be converted into money that you transfer into your buffer. You haven't been using this for your lifestyle, so why not just put that straight into your savings? So the action here is look at the past 30 days of your bank statement and list out all your subscriptions, any service providers that you are paying for, list the name, list the amount, and list the last time you used it. And anything that you haven't used in the last 30 days, let's get rid. Again, you don't need to get rid of all of it today. Cancel one and then have that amount standard order into your buffer. Easy. If you're not using it, stop spending money on it. We're not in a position where we should be wasting money. We need to start being practical with what we're spending our money on. And if we do sign up to something we're using it, then fair. That's good because it's adding value to yourself. But if you're not, then we're literally throwing money away. So cancel one thing today. Tip number 13, stop using buy now, pay later. Buy now, pay later are features on shopping sites. You can use it in shops now, you can use it on Deliveroo, where you can purchase an item and then pay for it later, or you can pay for it over a period of time. And sometimes this adds on interest, which means you're paying more than if you were to pay for the things right there and then. Stop using it. If you cannot afford it, then 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't be buying it. And one rule that I learned from my father is if you can't buy it twice, don't buy it at all. So just stop using it. There's no reason to use it. There's no way this is benefiting you in buying for something now and paying later. By the time you're making the last payment, the feeling that that thing gave you has long gone. So it doesn't even make sense. If you want to buy something, start saving up for it. Start being strategic on what you are actually buying. Tip number 14, avoid lifestyle inflation. Now, this is something I used to do, is when I got more money, I elevated my lifestyle. So I would buy the more expensive dinner. I would buy the more expensive cocktail. I would go to the more expensive places. If you get more money, your priority should be, how can I protect my future self and protect my low months? Now, I'm not saying, yes, you got more money, so okay, instead of getting just a plain hot chocolate, add the cream and marshmallows. Within reason, yeah. But what we don't want is to get in a poor habit, and every single time that you get paid more, that you max out all that extra money on extra things that you could have done without. So an action to take away here is to prioritize, when you get paid extra, what amount are you going to put into your buffer and your savings before you put it into yourself. Tip number 15, don't lend what you can't afford to lose. Now, some of us are good Samaritans and we thrive off giving, helping other people, and sometimes we give too much. And we will have people that know that we will give come to us and ask for money at times. And most likely than not, we will give the money regardless of our situation. And I'm not saying to be tight, to be mean and not help, but in order to be able to help others, you need to make sure that you are looking after yourself. You cannot give from an empty bucket. So when you're giving your last pound and then for the next 3 weeks, people are still asking you, you can't give nothing, and you feel bad because you can't give nothing, you're just adding more stress to yourself on top of the financial stress that you probably be experiencing in that time. So if you can't afford to lose that amount forever, I would think twice before giving it. Or you can always suggest the amount that you can afford to give. If someone asks for £50, maybe you only can afford to give £25. Say that, because you are going through a financial journey and maybe one day you do want to help them more, but at first you need to help yourself to ensure that you get to a place of stability. And the only way that you can get there is stop giving out money that you can't afford to lose right now. Tip number 16, bonus, overtime, and tips are not guaranteed. Stop living on your paycheck like your bonus, your overtime, and your tips are coming in the same every month. You need to live as if one month happens where the business is dry, you're not getting any bonus. There's no overtime and the tips are near to nothing, that you still can survive and maintain the basics, the basic living elements of your life. What you don't want to be doing is living this delusional life where you've had probably 3 months and it's amazing. Yes, you're getting bonuses here, you're getting so much tips, you're getting overtime left, right, and center. And then next month comes and all of that is wiped away because of train strikes, bad weather, God knows what could happen. And you haven't protected that low month, but you spent it all because you feel it's something that's guaranteed, then you have put yourself into a difficult situation. So you need to use your bonus and your tips and your overtime as extra funds and use it in the same way that I said before, where priority is protect your future self, then spend on your life now. So an action to take away is to understand what your basic income is without the tips, without the bonus, and without the overtime, and plan your life around that. And then understand anything above that number is extra, and then you know to prioritize an amount to your future self, and then you'll have a little bit more for yourself now. Tip number 17, understand your seasonal patterns. Now, working in industries where your pay is variable, so hospitality, retail, maybe you do gig work, you do consulting, you most likely will have a seasonal pattern. So to work out your seasonal income, you need to understand the trade of your business. And we all know that, again, from a hospitality background, that December is usually a really good month when it comes to extra tips, extra hours, and bonuses. And come January, it is the complete opposite. Everything dries up. There's no hours, there's little tips, and you're probably not going to get any bonus in January because businesses are quiet and usually they're putting out discounts. So understanding peaks and troughs of your business will give you a little bit of a prediction on what your pay is going to look like in that month. Then there you can kind of plan out your financials for the year and understand on months where you might not be able to do so much or plan to do lower costing things or free things. And in the summer and the high months, that's when you can afford to spend a little bit more and save more. And one thing I did, I packed up all my experience into this one book. You survived the Christmas rush, now survive January. And this speaks about everything that we experience when we've had such a good month and then the next minute we don't have anything at all. And this is specifically for anyone with an irregular income. So it's not just hospitality, it's also retail, anyone doing gig work, and it's also an interactive book. So a lot of the things I'm talking about, you can write in as well, and then have a kind of like financial Bible, a sort of financial Bible where all your numbers are in one place. So if you do want a copy of this, The link is below. I will be creating some more videos on the topics that I speak about in this book. So please subscribe so you can stay tuned. Tip number 18, stop chasing more money and start building skills. Now, again, I do talk about hospitality because it is my background, but this does go for other industries as well. When we're on a variable income, we tend to chase the hourly amount, and we chase for more, thinking that somehow when we get more money, we'll be better off. And most likely, we're going to be in the same situation because we've grown some habits, or we haven't been given the systems that work for our income. And I'm telling you that you need to start building your financial stability on what you have now, because you will not seek the benefits and when you get paid more. You're chasing a number with the same behaviors of someone that's not managing with the finances that they have right now today. And I am speaking from experience. I went from hourly to salaried as a general manager quite young, and I didn't understand how I'm getting this salary that looked massive at the time and I'm still struggling. And it's realizing that nothing had changed apart from the number on my payslip. I was still behaving in exactly the same ways that was leaking out money on the hourly pay that I was getting. So I promise you, chasing more money is not going to give you longevity and building financial stability. Working with what you have now and getting a strong foundation will. And then instead of chasing more money, more hours, and maxing out your time, use some time to build skills. Use some time to understand where you are. If you're working in an industry you want to move up in, start speaking to your managers and grow your skills in areas that will help you get into the management role. Or if you want to go out in a different industry, start reading books, watching tutorials, and building your skills in the areas that you want to actually go into. Tip number 19, speak to your employer. In industries where we are getting variable income, we probably can get weeks where we don't get any hours, and a lot of us probably won't say anything. And we'll go weeks and months and ends where we would get 20 hours one week, 35 the next, 15 hours, 25 the next. And we will go through this up and down and not say anything. And not saying anything will give the signal that this is okay. You are fine with it. So what you need to do is open your mouth and speak to the employer. And I'm not saying that when you do this, magically you're going to get the hours you want, because it all depends on the business and there's other factors we need to take in consideration. And management needs to be fair across the board. If you can come with something that gives them stability, in return, you will get the stability. So speak to your employer, and an action to take away is to go to your employer, have set hours that you are committing to, that they don't have to worry about moving around. They know that this person's going to cover Monday all day, Thursday afternoon, Friday evening close, Sunday open. Give them guaranteed hours that you're willing to cover, and ensure that you're covering peak shifts